Welcome back to the A&E podcast. I'm A.
And I'm E.
And E hates living with me.
Okay. So, that's not what I meant.
That's a beautiful way to segue into this,
Yeah.
actually, so.
Okay, but also, that's not what I meant. So, I was saying, and this is what we're starting with, I hate living with another author because, well, a few reasons, but because I want to read what you're writing. But I get to see the process, but I still have to wait with everyone, which is torture. I get a little bit insider things.
Yeah.
A lot of it. Insider things, because we both, you know that picture of the guy, I think it's Charlie Day from Always Sunny, where it's like the crazy like red string board, and he's like standing.
yes.
That's, one of us will be diligently working, and then the other one comes in and is like, but wait, the board. Yes. There's a lot of interrupting each other, which was worse at our old place because we could see each other when we were writing. Because we would write in essentially the same room, just very far apart. Adjoining rooms that were open to each other. I would do the table in the kitchen at this place, and I could see straight to Alex. And I know that I've posted this on Threads before, but with Alex's writing, they look exactly like the lo-fi chill songs to write to or study to or whatever. Exactly like her. Big headphones, big hoodie, no matter if it's 102 degrees outside, locked in. And I look like the Charlie Day meme with scattered notes and about 16 cups of coffee.
Exactly. 16.
Nothing more, nothing less. But so I more than you would interrupt and be like, hey, I have this idea. What can I walk you through it, or like talk it out? I do a lot of drafting out loud, or like in my notes, or like whatever, because it helps me. And also, if I'm thinking something and the idea is half cocked, you'll come in and ask me questions, and answering other people's questions really helps me like fully flesh out an idea. If Alex is like gonna ask a question, it's more like, what's another word for this?
Yeah. Mainly because I'll be like thinking that of a vibe of a word. And, like, I have the concept of an idea of a word, and my brain can't... There's, like... Okay, we've talked about this. There's a little computer in my brain, and it is solely responsible for spitting out words and putting sentences together. And so I never know what I'm writing until my fingers are literally hitting the keys. Because my brain is spitting out these words. And every so often, it'll come to a word, and it's, like, not... what I mean. And so I'll like Google, okay, so like the other day, I was trying to think of a vibe of a word, and I was telling Elsie about it, and I was like, but the only word that my brain can rationally think of is mean, the word mean. Yeah. And this character isn't mean, like, there's more nuance to it. And so me and Elsie literally sat for, like, maybe 3 minutes thinking of, like, other words that could, like, match the vibe.
When we learned it, I've already forgotten it, but that day we learned a new word.
Yes. That
was so long and so specific. Yeah. And that was fun.
We landed on a couple of ones that I ended up using. Hard, stoicism, and callous, I think, were more so what I was looking for other than mean. But yeah, so like when I come to Elsie, it's like a, hey, bestie, so like this word, if it was a color, like what?
And I'm like, that time we did spend time looking it up, but usually I'm like, oh, it's this. So that's the trade-off. I usually come to you and I'm like, okay, so an idea is like misting around in my head. Ask me questions about it so I can like firm it up. Or like I'll tell her something and she'll ask a follow-up question. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, and a lot of times it's something that's very simple. I'm trying to think of an example, but I'll say, oh, like, I think that this character, like, I really want them to go to this restaurant. And she's like, well, why? And I'm like, usually the real answer is because. That's what came to my mind. But then I'm like, why are they going here? Well, because of this. And then usually by the time we're done, I'm like spitting off like the whole next paragraph of what I'm going to write. And they're like, okay.
I was going to say, kind of bouncing off of what we were talking about last episode, of assumptions that we make about each other's characters. If you come to me, if I like vaguely know the character, you come to me with something, and in my head I'm thinking of the headcanon that I've made, and I'm specifically talking about your big whip. Like, you came to me once and you were like, what about this? And I was like, okay, well, in my head, I've conceptualized one of the characters a very specific way.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
They are nothing like that in actuality. Like, you have crafted such a specific aura for them, and I am completely left field. But in my head, that's who they are. And so you came and you were like, what about this? And I was like, okay, but like, what about this? Have you ever considered this other thing? And sometimes you'll be like, actually, that's a great idea. And then, you know, you kind of fully flush it out after that. But then sometimes you're like, but...
I know exactly.
But that turns into you thinking about how awful that idea is. And then you end up thinking about what you could do better, and then that ultimately leads you down a path. You're so busy thinking about how awful of an idea of what I just said is that you're like, actually, I know exactly what I want. I don't want anything you just said.
They're not awful. I'll say this.
They're OOC. I'll say that.
Yeah. So this is and I won't say who it is, but this is an example of one of the things that happened with is I have so again we discussed last episode how you are obsessed with the obsession trope.
Yes.
And there's a character who is very like that is a part of their character trait. They are very invested in this other character. Let's say A and B. A is like heavily invested, like does. Like, almost everything they do is either for this person or for the good of, like, the world that they live in. And so I was like, yeah, when they hooked up with people during this, like, time span that, like, we're, like, before the story starts. And Alex was like, respectfully, no, they didn't. They're like, they would never do that. And I said, yes, they would. They literally did. And you were like, are you sure?
I was like, I don't believe it. Where's the facts? And you're like, my writing.
Yeah, I was like, I've already written one of these scenes. And it does make sense. And it also, like, it's not like they were serious relationships. But I'm giving these characters a lot of angst. And maybe that's why the big whip, I have to walk away from it because I make myself sad. And I'm like, dang, these characters go through. Like, one of my favorite characters is not in the book yet. They come in, if I'm putting this book into arcs, we're finishing arc 1.5 and they don't come in till like arc 2, so they haven't entered the story yet, but just how I conceptualize them, what I want and everything, I love them so fiercely. I'm about to torture them for 2.5 books. I think if you picked up the book, you obviously I haven't written them yet, so maybe I'll go too nice as I'm privy to do, but I think you would think that I hate this person because they're about to be all hurt, no comfort for a little bit. They have a little glimmer of sunshine in the form of my main character that'll like give them a little hope.
In the form of my main character.
But they won't actually see the sun for a while. So that's really funny. For my headcanons for you is I'll pitch you like, what would they be? Like the beach episode. I'll pitch that for your character. So I'm like, hey, what if Avis did this? Or like I send you a lot of like I'll see something on Instagram and I'll message it to you and I'm like, this is so Avis coded. Or Edith would do this. And you're like, yeah, they would. Okay.
Well, yes, because you're so correct, but I don't know what to do with that information. I'm like, thank you.
Another facts.
Yeah.
Is this a cactus? Yeah.
Do you have Eleanor Shellstrop's file?
Yes.
No, I have a cactus. Yeah.
Yeah. That's I do that a lot because the thing is your books are just so universal. Like anyone could pick it up. Number 6 on the demons and and I don't know. But they're very specific. You do very good character work. I was thinking earlier when you were talking about your computer, if your computer's like a brain, I'm thinking like old school computer where they still have like the little cards and stuff. Mine is like, I was going to say I'm Shakespeare, but that sounded too
I'm Shakespeare.
What I mean is I'm putting on a play. Like, I would say maybe my characters are like Polly Pockets that I'm moving around in my head. So it's very, like, acting things out. And that's why I think I have to say things out loud. Because I have to, like, see how it feels in the universe. But they're, like, Polly Pockets. Or, like, I feel like I'm molding them out of clay. But I don't know how to, like, make statues. So I'm just, like, you know, figuring it out.
Oh, I need that on a t-shirt. I'm molding out of clay, but I don't know how to make statues.
Market it, send it, post, send it.
Real.
You and your 8 husbands can order the clay t-shirt.
Don't make this a running bid. God, that's going to be on our merch in the future. It's going to be me and my 8 husbands. Listen.
The puppy dog eyes.
Writing and segue.
Okay.
Writing is so much marketing. It is, if anything, being an author is basically having your PhD in marketing, and you have a writing as a side hustle.
If you're an indie author, you're doing graphic design, you're at the very least talking to artists or doing things yourself. Maybe you're doing the con circuit. You're interacting with other people. You're posting on all the socials.
You're doing collabs.
You're doing collabs. Formatting, which is my arch nemesis. You're doing that. You're doing the edits. You're reaching out to people to ARC or Beta or Alpha read and like.
And you have to be on Threads and Instagram and TikTok and Blue Sky and X, and you have to have a Discord that you keep up with regularly and a newsletter that you send out regularly.
Yeah. It's
like actually insane.
And all of that too does require writing as well. So for me, I have because we've discussed last one that like my boss is me and my boss is a pushover, but very loosely I have marketing days and I have pure writing days. A lot of times it ends up being like a mix of the two, but Mondays are like my big marketing day for Elsie and other things in my personal life that like I have to like deal with and like check the emails and like all of the like not fun back end stuff I do on Mondays, and it's just so much. And like every time I sign up for something it's like, oh, are you on Twitter? I'm like, no, like I have a personal Twitter but I haven't started a business Twitter, so I'm like, should I do that? And then I'm like, okay, well, you sign up for this other thing. Oh, you need an author website. Oh, okay. Oh, like, well, do you want to interact with, like, your readers on Discord, or do you want to do a newsletter? Oh, okay. Oh, you need to commission art. Oh, people need new art. Like, the cover's not enough. Oh, okay. Oh, do you want to do special edition audiobooks? Like, there's so much stuff, which I feel like I wear the Elsie hat, my Hannah Montana wig, and I'm seeing it from this side. I'm like, oh my god, it's so much. Oh my god, like blah, blah, blah. It's exciting as well. It's exciting when things pan out and things are getting done. But it's just so frustrating to do it when I just want to write and eat hot chip and go to bed.
Right, eat hot chip, lie.
And then, yes. And like when you're writing however many words a day, maybe one, maybe, you know, a couple of thousand, whatever. And then you have to write captions. And then you have to write some threads. I think I'm very funny on threads. I think that's my best social media. Personally, it's the one I most... Because it just feels very low, you know, whatever. I can just be me.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get a Twitter. I don't want to get a Blue Sky, as of right now. I have a TikTok, but...
Not gonna lie, and I'm gonna plug her one more time because I love her.
It's gonna be...
Yes, the only reason why I have a Blue Sky is because Opal Rain posts NSFW pictures on there, as well as her Discord. But I'm like, I'll scroll on Instagram because I don't know when these are coming out. I'll scroll and then it has like that blur, you know, over, and I'm like, I'm going to Blue Sky.
I'm an adult.
Yeah.
Do you like Blue Sky?
It's okay. I feel like, now I don't know if it has like more users than X, or if it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like I've found my niche yet on there. Like I haven't found my audience. So my page is like really, really small.
Is it? But it's basically a Twitter, right? Because it was a Twitter alternative. Yeah. Okay. I'm assuming that a lot of people had left Twitter, X, whatever. I'm going to say Twitter. And then moved to Blue Sky and then Threads. I was a Threads holdout for a long time because you know.
Yeah. Another one.
Another one, and also it's like, I don't really fuck with the Zuck like that, but like, I do use Instagram because I use it, like I said, for this marketing and other things, and I have my own personal Twitter. My personal Twitter is impenetrable. It is so curated. It's my second Tumblr. Like, I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, if someone found my Twitter, I don't think they know anything about me, like, me as a person, but any hyperfixation that I've ever had, I retweet with abandon. Because I want to be able to go back and stalk my own Twitter and laugh and smile again. And that's what it's used for.
Period.
And it's so heavy. You know this because we follow each other on Twitter. Oh my god, we're friends. Like, it's just so fandom. So, like, I'm like, I don't want to bring work into that space. This is for the boys, you know?
Don't bring the boys into this.
This is for the boys, kissing other boys. And I need to see it on my feed.
Real.
And Yellow Jackets and other things as well.
We need our government-issued Yowie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'll go insane.
Yeah.
I use Twitter. I like to see, if I'm watching a reality show and I don't want to, like, whatever, I'll go to Twitter because everything's fresh. If I get a little bit of my politics on Twitter, but mostly other stuff, like other sites. But Twitter's just so fresh. But it's mostly fuckery and fanfics and fandoms and all of that stuff. So I don't want to bring work into there. That's why I've been holding on Twitter. I was holding on Threads because of the reason I just said. But I kind of really like it. I really hate that I like it, but it's so easy to interact with other authors and, like...
Yes.
I don't know. I think it's because the algorithm's not messed up yet. So I'm, like, holding on for it to be as good for as long as possible. But, like, it is the most relevant... obviously, I'm not Blue Sky, so I can't speak to that. But for what I use, it's the most relevant thing where I see things that I'm interested in. There's other people asking for art sign-ups I'm interested in. You still get the writer tea, which is prevalent on Twitter and Threads, always. But then, like, I don't know, it just feels really interactive within the niche that I'm trying to, like, use it for. I don't use my personal Threads really at all unless I accidentally sign into it.
Yeah.
But for this, I think it's really good, and I also get to see, like, authors that I really like pop up, and, you know, Katie Roberts. Every day. You know... The sun is out if you see a Katie Roberts thread, because she's gonna be on there.
The sun is out. The birds are chirping. The tank is clean. Love them. Shout out to Katie Roberts.
Yeah. I feel much more comfortable adding someone on Threads and we're like, hey, blah, blah, because it just feels like, you know how on Venmo you can...
You can see other people's
that's what Threads feels like to me, and I know that's probably just me being okay, because I'm like, I feel like I'm talking out loud, but like no one has to see it. It's just me and the girls, me and the friends, you know. But then also I'm plugged into everything else. I was gonna say before, I feel like as an author, seeing this side now, I'm like, oh, this is a lot of work. Oh, like so much goes into it, and it has given me an appreciation for other authors too, because I'm like, it's kind of like it takes years to get even a shitty movie made. It takes a lot of effort to get even a book that maybe you didn't enjoy or wasn't for you made, and so much goes into it, and love and attention, that, like, you know, it's giving me that perspective. But then I switch my brain over, I take the wig off, and I'm like, okay, but when's the next book coming out? I know you just published. I need it, and I need it with sprayed edges, and I need it to be shiny, and I need it right now in 10 editions.
Which is crazy that's, like, that's your truth. Because now I feel like being an indie author, you know, I know how much, like, actually goes on behind the curtains, and, like, how much an author actually has to do. And some of my favorite authors, like Opal, for example, got pregnant. And so she was like, hey guys, like, there's going to be some delays because I'm on this journey. And, like, yes, queen, go off. Like, you should have this journey, and you should have it, like, stress-free from work, just like any other occupation. Like, you should have this, like, maternity leave, this time to, like, adjust your life.
Creative. Like, that's supposed to bring you joy, too.
Exactly. Yeah. And so... like, I'm like, girl, it's okay. You can take a break. These prequels don't have to come out for another 2 years, and I'd be fine. Like, take your time, live your life, live your truth, and, like, be with your, you know, your new kid. That's obviously this, like, wonderful, like, new thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I get it, you know. Books take a long time, even if they're really short.
Yeah.
Take a long time because there's so many steps that you have to go through. So I feel like I'm more appreciative when actual like books come out and I'm like, wow, this went from the author and then went through like, you know, if they have an editor, went through the editor, went through beta readers and alpha readers and ARC readers and like all of this other stuff.
And I know some people, which I have been in the past, the unfortunate thing that I've learned is that marketing works. So
Yes.
there are some people that do the Beyonce drops, which I've done that. I've also done like the pre-marketing. Pre-marketing does work. It is more work, but it's rewarding. I was gonna say, I guess I'm like a little bit of a two-face, like DC Comics core, because the evil side.
Come on, Harvey Dent.
Hey, that's what they call me. The evil capitalist side of me is the side that's like Patrick when he eats the chocolate bar in SpongeBob, where I'll be like looking forward to something, and then I am a fast reader, which is why I often delay my own gratification. I don't pick up something that I'm excited about right away, because I will gobble it up in one night and then have like the Patrick chocolate all over my mouth and be like, where is it? Where did it go? I want to feel those vibes again. Where's the book? And it's like, next one coming out in 2 years. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And then there's the like liberal artist that's like, yeah, go at your own pace, and like this is a creative endeavor, and like the profit is a bonus to being able to do what I like.
Yeah.
So the marketing feels like this is for profit and for eyes, but every other aspect of it is like me being able to do something that I love, that's creative, and building this world.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe that's why sometimes I'm like, I don't want to market. I want to be free, and like if people pick it up, whatever. That's just not how it goes.
Actually, not too long ago, like literally earlier today, I got a message from an artist that they're like finally doing my commission.
Exciting.
I'm so excited. These are new characters from book 2 that I haven't ever had art commissioned for yet. So I'm very excited.
In the vein of what we talked about last episode about Dakota, where it's like you are rewarding yourself with the same thing that you need to do, I have to commission a cover, which have to makes it sound like it's a chore. I'm really excited for it, but this is something that is like needed. I have to commission a art for a cover, and I was like, you know what? Why don't we double it? And if I do so much work this week, then I'll get like a commission for one of my other like things as well. So that's like the goal that I'm working towards. But it is fun. Will you tell them your take on commissioning art?
First of all, it makes me feel like rich like banker from like Greco-Roman times that's like, come here, young Michelangelo, I need you to do a painting of my favorite saint, but it's like actually my OC. So it makes me feel that way. I'm like, come here, sculpt me a bust of my favorite character.
Can you imagine? That would actually go hard.
That would go hard.
A bow bust?
I actually wouldn't be normal about it.
No, I wouldn't either.
I would go crazy.
That's so cool. Might be talking like we have
like we have it, like it's real.
Next on the Patreon. Well,
look at her already on the Patreon.
I was going to bring us in a different direction, but I want to talk about commission, about like what that feels like, but also still in our marketing conversation. It can be exciting. It can be my brain is like full sin on marketing, and I think this is because I know I've mentioned this before, but I said last pod, my evil ex was also a writer, so, and also a Capricorn. So for years I was like seeing what they did and how they did the circuit and merchandise and things like that. And there's like always a lesson to be learned. There's things that I've learned and want to take from that, and there's things that I didn't like or want to leave behind. So like I do have a marketing brain. However, this marketing brain is for other people. Like, put me in a pitch meeting and I've got you. Like, I'm like, oh, we should do this, or oh, we can do this, or like, oh, I'm online all the time, this is like trending. But to have the, like, follow through and gumption to do it myself, no, I'm not the one. So, like, when I sit down and I'm like, I need to make this or this many posts for this week so that, you know, I've got something on the page and I'm not popular enough to keep disappearing. No one knows who I am. I just disappear sometimes. That part is when I start to get stressed out, when it's for me. But when I'm doing, like, for instance, like, I've kind of mentioned I do marketing for something else. And that's so much easier because, yes, some, like, the people who know that it's me doing it. But also, I can say some unhinged things, and, like, it's the brand. Mm-hmm. We're just being silly over here. Yeah. Who knows who that is? Yeah. And I don't feel so, like, whatever. But everything that I've put, as silly as it is, you know, under Elsie and under myself, I care a lot about, and I want someone to, like, look at it and think, like, oh, this is so cool or whatever. So then I'm like, I simply can't post, I think. I simply can't do anything. And I'm like, what if they think my graphic is ass and then they don't want to read my book? Or what if, like, pull quotes, I can't do it. One, because I be yapping. So when I actually go to pull the quote and I think that I remember the quote goes one way, I go and the quote is so much thicker and I can't even cut it to one sentence with the ellipsis because it's all like it's so whatever. And so then I'm like, and what if I pull a quote that's not funny and I could have pulled like a different quote, or like it doesn't make sense, or like, you know, there's a lot of very quick jokes in the Hornucopia, or things that are very funny but I know it's just for me. That don't make good pull quotes. Or Planted, there were some pull quotes that were quote-unquote sexy posts, but that's because other people told me to put them. Because in the context of the book, I'm like, yeah, this is hot. But then when I'm, like, putting it in a stark background with just the quote on my Instagram, I'm like, is it? Is it hot? Is it gonna, like, is this gonna hit? Are the kids gonna, not the kids, are the ladies gonna like it, you know? I don't know. Do you have that problem?
Pulling quotes?
Yeah, like for yourself or like from your books?
No.
Oh.
I'm sorry. And I say no because usually it's like I'm pulling dialogue. Mm-hmm. And I'm such a nerd for syntax. Mm-hmm. And so I love different sentence structures, and I mean, you've obviously seen this because you've read my writing, but sometimes I get, like, low-key poetic with it, and I'm like, if you, like, starting different sentences right next to each other with the same word over and over again, really like doing that. I really like putting really big sentences right next to super small sentences, and, like, doing that, and because I feel like it just visually, it just, like, scratches something in my brain. And so normally, you know, if I want to pull something from there, I usually choose the really short sentence.
Interesting.
Yeah. Or it's just dialogue, and usually I keep that to a minimum because I don't be writing dialogue like that.
I also feel like you have sat with your books longer, because we talked about this first episode with Define and Defiled. Once it was out of my hands. Like, I think that I blacked out, which is a problem with, like, Hornucopia, which is a ongoing series, where I have to, like, go back and I'm like, did I say that? Or, like, have I mentioned this? Or, like, oh my god, I didn't remember I mentioned this, because once it's out of my body and, like, into the world, I don't remember what's in there, so I literally have to, like, read the book to pull another quote. And my books are very rereadable, but then I get into my head of, like, was this ever funny in the first place? Or was this ever hot in the first place? Or, like, is this, you know, whatever. The imposter starts, like, eating at my brainstem. So
don't even get me started on imposter syndrome.
Actually, let's talk about
one of my favorite artists the other day posted on Threads that they were feeling imposter syndrome. And I was like, I know this is, like, a universal thing, and I know this is something that we all struggle with in the creative space, but bestie, I cannot emphasize enough how much of the goal you are. Yeah. Like, you are the goalpost that keeps moving. And I know, like, I know it's, like, all in our heads and whatever, but they posted that, and so I responded with, like, an emoji. But I love their artwork so much, and sometimes when I feel that impostery, I, like, think about that. I'm like, maybe there are people out there who are, like, who really enjoy my work or who inevitably in the future will.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
I think we went to a book club meeting 2 months or so ago, and someone in the group, they were talking about a book that we didn't necessarily love. It was very, like, it wasn't bad, it wasn't good, it was just a book that we've all read. And and people were trying not to be negative about it, because again, like, it was harmless, it wasn't bad, it just, and the nature of when you read a lot, sometimes you read something that you've already read, and it's not that person's fault that that book wasn't the first one that you picked up. But someone in the group was, like, being very nice, and they're like, I've written 0 books this year. I've written 0 books in my entire lifetime. So no matter what, this author has already achieved something that I haven't. And Alex and I looked at each other, and, you know, we zoned back in. But I think about that, and I'm like, in this space, my worst achievement is a goal for someone else. Which is easy to say right now when we're sitting together and I'm not in front of my blank document. But it's something that I've been trying to, like, remind myself, especially with this past couple of years. I've gotten into a lot of creative stuff, which I've been really enjoying, but didn't really have the time or space, like, mentally or physically to do so. So I'm always very, like, I always remember how I'm very grateful for that. But I have a lot of people when I get really, and this conversation actually happened this weekend, where I get really in my head and I'm like, oh, well, this could be better, or like, oh, I could have done this, or like, I wish that I was on this level. And people tell me, like, you writing, or I'm thinking like crochet and stuff, but you creating makes me want to create more, because I see you, like, completing stuff. And I'm like, if y'all even knew how quickly this market actually is, and like, people are writing books every 2 months, and like, I'm in comparison really fast or really slow, but compared to someone who's not doing it very fast. And they're like, but seeing you do it makes me do it. And that, I don't know. Imposter syndrome is so funny because it's so easy to slip into, and then also you have to be like, you're not that big, you know, in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. And also the fact that we're even creating anything at all is impressive. So someone that I admire posted imposter syndrome thread recently, and I thought the same thing, and I was like, but you're so cool.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? Your art is amazing.
Yeah, I'm like, but you're so cool. And yeah, you're right. So I was thinking that about I mean, I think that even in the space of, like, we both write, like, when I first read your first book, I was like, dang, no one's doing it like them.
Stop.
Like, and there's certain things that are your in your skill set that are not in mine. And I think, like, we both have very different voices, but sometimes I wish my voice was different. Like, I'm like, I hate saying this, because every time I say this sentence, it sounds very pretentious, but I mean it with all of my heart and soul. Sometimes I wish I was less funny, because and this is how I deal with life too, as you well know, but, like, I'll be in a serious moment, but the joke is right there, and I have to end it. And I really, like you saying, like, you are obsessed with syntax and how things look. I think this is my movie brain, really obsessed with chapters ending on a sting. So, like, most of the time that's a joke, or, like, a dramatic, like, fade to black moment, even if we're in, like, the same place in the next chapter. Like, I really like something to end on, like, a punch every single time, like it were a movie, because my Polly Pockets need to, you know, be like that. So, that being said, sometimes I'll, like, have a character have an emotional breakthrough, and then I'm like, and then someone went knock knock, and there was a clown at the door, like, in chapter, and I have to, like, force myself to not do that. But that's just, it feels more comfortable to me to do that than to just sit and let them be evil and let them be sad, you know. Yeah. And I remember my ex one time was reading my stuff, and they're like, everything you write sounds YA, but the thing that I was writing was not supposed to be. Which there's nothing wrong with YA. I read a lot of YA, but, like, it just wasn't what I was intending. So I was like, oh, okay.
You know, it's funny that you say that, because I was actually thinking about that when I was looking over my upcoming release of, like, letting your character stay in the moment, because that shit happens in real life. Yeah. Like, people hesitate, silence lingers, you sit there and you kind of like stew and you feel all of your emotions and everything. And I was thinking about that because there are some quite serious like emotional breakthroughs in this novel. And so I also have the same thing too of like, these are what I have made silly characters. It's silly in the way that they're
like comparatively.
Yeah, comparatively they're a little bit more upbeat than book 1 characters. And
which, sorry, dramatic irony, book 1 characters comparatively not having that hard of a life. Like, it starts off where they're dealing with some serious stuff, but their story is very light and could easily be like a romantic comedy if it weren't so drama. Book 2, they're dealing with some heavy shit, and they're all goofs and gaffs. So it is very fun, like, you know, balance.
Yeah. But, you know, with that, they are dealing with some, like, really heavy stuff, and, but because I've written them to where they are silly and goofy, like, you know, characters, I was like, I was trying to measure how long to let them sit with, like, sit in the scene, like, sit with their feelings. And I think it's going to take a couple more pass-throughs before I, like, finally get that measurement right.
Speaking of that, because the answer to that I have found for, like, how long you let them sit is, like, it's not how long Elsie would let them sit, right? Or like, how long I would sit in something. I did something the other day because I was avoiding writing. And you know this, but when you're avoiding writing, you do research. So I was like, one of my characters in The Big Whip has changed a lot. And you know this, I was going to say it's not a hidden secret, like I've ever said this before to anyone outside of you. But, like, one of the characters was me. Like, when I started writing this, it was from a dream that I had and, like, a little bit of, like, a self-insert fic. And then I was like, wait, this story's kind of fun. And then it just grew and grew and grew and morphed into, like, an actual plot and book and characters. But the main character still had, and still physically has a lot of my attributes, but, like, emotionally has become so different that she's actually the opposite of me. And so I was like, you know what? I don't want to write. Let's take a Myers-Briggs test. So I became each of my 4 characters, and I took it as me, myself. And I showed you the results, but every single character ended up in a different branch, and none of us were the same. But this main character had become extroverted, but also very, like, how they deal with their emotions was complete opposite to me. They have, I guess, like we talked in the first episode about putting a little bit of yourself. They have my anxiety, but everything else is, like, completely different. They do not handle situations how I do. They're very analytical. And this was a problem that she and I were fighting each other on. They can be unintentionally mean because they are so blunt. And I didn't like that. Because I was like, she sounds like a bitch. Or she sounds very wishy-washy. But then, like, letting it go and being like, oh, that's just not how I would handle it. Like, like a real person, you know, you would have empathy for. But this is going to sound very, maybe toxic. But I think about mothers and daughters. And about how to be a good parent, and this is coming from a childless cat owner, but, like, you know, but to be a good parent, you have to let that person be their own person. And, like, to be a bad person, or a bad parent, or a parent that has issues, you don't do that. And that's kind of the parent that I was to this character, where I was like, no, you're going to the school, you're doing the dance recital, you're brushing your hair back and doing what I want, and, like, having to, like, release that. And she would sit in uncomfortability a lot longer than I would, because where I would crack a joke, she would be quiet. And I don't like it.
Yeah.
But it's what she would do. So, you know, kind of have to. And then there's another character, the character who I mentioned last episode, who was supposed to die, is actually now the most like me. Like, everything that I thought that I was feeding into this first character, he has gotten with it. The forgotten middle child, where
who
like
can relate?
They, not me. Stay safe out there. But they,
Dang.
sorry. They've absorbed all of these things, and now that I've noticed that, I can play around more with that, and like he would avoid. We're both very avoidant when it gets too hard. Like, we'd rather be, like, the silly comic relief than, like, sit and be uncomfortable. So that has helped. And then I try to do, like, a joke pass where I, like, delete some of my jokes. And that actually is really hard. Like, what I've started to do is I have this doc of cutscenes where I'm like, if I reread this later on and I'm like, oh, something's missing here, I can go back to the doc of, like, jokes or lines or whole paragraphs that I've deleted and, like, refresh it. But if I read this and I don't think about it, then it doesn't need to be in this book. And God, that is hard because I fall in love with some of these and they're mostly jokes that I'm like, this joke is banger. It has to make it. And then I'm like, oh, but now the scene is, you know, so long, or like, oh, she was talking about her dead mother and now she's cracking jokes, and like that's not what she would do.
You know what you should do with those scenes? You know how in the early Barbie movies
I'm so locked into whatever you're gonna say.
You know, in the early Barbie movies, they would have the movie, and then when you bought it on DVD, there was a blooper reel, and it was Barbie acting like, and like all of the characters and what, you know, whatever movie you were watching are acting like they're actors on a film set doing their thing. And I think it was born because the voice actor for Barbie, like, messed up on, like, some lines or whatever, and they were like, this is funny. And so they, like, kept it in, and it became, like, this whole thing of, like, Barbie and her bloopers, because, you know, Barbie is doing all of these things because she's an actress, actually.
Yes.
You should do that with all of your characters. Like, treat them like actors with all of the deleted scenes.
That's
like,
actually really funny.
Character A reads something, is like, really? They would say this? I don't think so.
That reminds me, I'm really showing my nerd, but that reminds me, there's, like, all those fanfics that are based off of, like, books or movies or whatever, where the characters read the book.
Oh, yeah.
That's, not enough.
And it can be, like, a little novella. Like, it doesn't have to be that long.
If I have a Substack that I have not brought out, but I have an idea for the Substack, but it's, like, I'm already writing so many other things I haven't, like, whatever. But I really love the idea of writing the Substack as if I'm a therapist for my characters. Because we love therapy in this house. And in book 1 of the Hornucopia, Joanne, like, mentions, like, I'm gonna have to pay my therapist more for this. And then in Planted, I mentioned that she put Gordy in therapy. And I was like, I would really love to be the therapist who's getting a squash client and having to, like, be so professional. Or who's, like, getting a woman saying, like, oh, I have these feelings for this dictionary. You know what I mean? So my idea is to do, like, for the Substack, to do, like, therapy notes. That would be a good place to also do, like, blooper, like, stuff. So see, that's how marketing happens, guys. That was all. It was all a big ploy, actually. Way back in, I was talking about the commissions and how it feels. It is very exciting, and it is very rewarding to be able to be like, I can't do that. Here's what I've got circling in my head, and then to be able to see your characters. And so I haven't commissioned a lot, but luckily I've only used 2 people at the time of this recording. I will have used more within the next week or so, but both of them got it instantly. Like, I sent the references that I made, and then, like, boom, that was it. And we had very, like, minute, like, fix this or fix that, or, like, it's like a color, or, like, oh, can we add a logo here, but not like they didn't get it. I know that people have had, like, where they've gone through multiple rounds for commission and, like, critiquing, and that's natural. That's not like a negative on the artist. That's just how the nature of collaboration works. I've just been really lucky that I haven't had to, like, do a whole bunch of rounds. But it is so crazy because I'm like, you were in my head, and now there's a picture of you, and people can see what I see.
Exactly.
And then for Gordy, when I got him commissioned, the artist was like, does he have a beard? Because I didn't mention that. And she was like, because if he did, it would be really fun to do it in, like, this style. And I was like, no, but Bessie, you just created a new character. you just gave me, you know, and she was so down for it. I was really nervous. That's the other thing. again, you're reaching out to someone who does something that, I mean, you could do, but I can't do at all.
I can't do.
You can, maybe not to the caliber that you would want, but, you know. And you're like, here's my baby, please create this.
Yeah.
And it feels like, I'm sure it's more normal in, like, a human sphere. But if I'm like, hey, how comfortable are you with a vegetable man?
You know, it's actually funny because when I was commissioning art for The Devil's Desire, I didn't know at that time any artists that A, I could afford, and B, that would be able to draw the devil as I had described them. And so I actually commissioned one of my friends that I've known for a very long time. I'm going to plug their handle because they do a lot of furry art. And I was like, yeah, the furry freak's going to be able to draw the devil. And so I went back actually just recently in our messages, and I had sent blocks of text from the actual book that I had used to describe them. And then I sent like a slew of pictures from my Pinterest board. And I was like, okay, these two are the vibe, but they're both wearing clothes. My devil does not. Then there's like this one that was a picture of a literal goat that had the 4 horns in the same patterns that my devil does. And it's like, okay, but like this head and then with this body and this type of fur and and then there's this too. Of just like a hodgepodge of all of these pictures. And they were like, got it. Crazy. And then they churned out probably one of the most beautiful pieces of fan art I think I've ever gotten to this day. And I have never gotten...
It's not fan art because you're canon. It's art.
I have never gotten... well, I'm about to actually. But I've never gotten another piece of art made of my devil because that one is just so perfect. I was like, you got it. You nail right on the head.
I would love to see, because like a few people in like group chats but not like in like a public space have shared like their reference photos. I would die to see like that be like a trend, like people share their reference photos of what they are, because so like I said, I've at this time got 2 pieces done that aren't, well, one was a cover. Also shout out, Hornicopia series covers done by Alex. You can't book her, she's booked by me. Well, you can, I'm not gonna get your bag queen, but like, but I got Gordy and Joanne, and they're like little chibi style, and I'll send you the person. Alex found them first, and they were doing Miguel art from, Into the Spider-Verse, clocked it, we're like, Then they had like a promotion, so I was like, hey, could you do this, and blah, 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 the boring stuff. And they were so down. I was so scared. They do, I think, also furry. Maybe that's why I was comfortable, but it wasn't like overt that they do like monster or anything like that. So I was like, I'm really kind of, hope I'm not weirding you out. But they were so chill, and like they were so down, and like they like were like, I've never had anyone ask that of me before, and I'm like, period. And for that, I was like, I don't know what to tell you. He's a squash. That's a man. And so I think I also sent like, this is what he says. And at some point, Gordy does have on clothes, and the shirt that he's wearing, because again, that book was like an inside joke kind of between you and I, is a real shirt that I own. Well, I don't own it anymore, but I owned it at the time, that we had thrifted. And so I was like, okay, here's the shirt. Sorry I'm wearing it in the picture. And they're wearing this style of clothing. And like, I think I had a Pinterest picture for Joanne that I sent. As I was like, this is the body type, this is the hair color, whatever. And then that was it, and they whipped it up, and it was so cute. And I think we did like an adjustment on like the eyes, and like I had a logo in mind for Joanne's. She works at a place I made up called the Bread Box, and I had some god awful, maybe I'll post that. So some god awful logos that I had made for her, and she was like, "What if I just do this?" And I was like, "Period. You're so good, queen."
It's almost like that's their job.
Yeah, I mean, Unhinged, I made like a bread mascot, and it's so creepy. And it wasn't meant to be. It was meant to be charming, but it's actually...
It's the Fae world. It can be creepy.
No, this is in real life.
Oh.
This is like a grocery store. The Bread Box is the grocery store.
It's not the one in the Fae.
No.
What's that one called?
The Fae Market.
No, but like the store that she works at in the Fae Market.
She works at like a booth, like.
Yeah.
And it's just the Fae Market.
Oh, for some reason I thought the bread box was in.
No, the bread box is essentially.
I've read this book many times,
yeah.
by the way. That's embarrassing.
No, it's fine. The bread box is in New York. That's where she works. Yeah. And it's in Planted too. They go to the bread box and.
You know what? You're so right. But for some reason...
You were, like, combining the two?
Well, for some reason, I thought the bread box was in the Fae world. And that she was just working at, like, generic grocery store.
She is, which is the bread box. But the way to the Fae Market is behind her second favorite bodega.
Yes.
So, though, that is different. Okay. But that is really funny. And then there's bread boxes nationwide because the bread boxes make a cameo in the Purse book.
Oh, okay.
Which, put a pin in that. But, the next thing for Defined and Defiled, I took a Pinterest picture of like someone, like a teacher that was on Pinterest, and I like took their face away and just like showed their outfit because that was like the vibe. And then I took a picture of the glasses that I wanted because she had a glasses chain. And I, like, both of these, I, like, deleted the background deleted the face, so it was just the outfit and the glasses chain. And then I took a picture of Ella Enchanted, where she's holding, Benny. And then I edited Will Smith's face onto the Benny, and I was like, this is the vibe. And I sent them, like, floating outfit, Will Smith, and glasses, and they were like, say less, queen. And I said, oh, and she has red hair. Boom. And somehow, instantly done. Mm-hmm. Perfectly. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, read the Purses thing, going back in. I've only finalized a chapter and a half of that one. Like, everything else is, like, vague lines that'll come to play later, or, like, and then they do this, blah, 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 make sure you write this, and then, like, dialogue, and then, oh, and then they did it, like, those kind of, like, get you there sentences. Mm-hmm. But, so I went and reread the, like, finalized bit that I wrote, because I had some, like, asterisks. I was like, insert drink here. So I was, like, inserting drink here. And I realized that in this world, which I haven't said where it is, it's just in my head, not New York, I put the store that she's in between a bread box and a hot yoga studio. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, in Squashed, she works at the bread box, and she makes a joke about doing a free trial of yoga for a week. And I was like, so what if this is her yoga place? I could just never mention, like, where it is. Like, you don't have to stay. Like, the nature of this book is, like, they go to a location and a secondary location. Like, mm-hmm. I don't have to say that this is New York or whatever. And I don't know that anyone, like, is reading all of these and gonna make that connection. But I was like, that's so funny that I did that without meaning to. Like, this could be Joanne's yoga studio. Mm-hmm. So, also made another chain store in the Purses one, and it's FF Tokyo Thrift. In my brain, the FF is fast fashion, or like fashion and something, but it's just like Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, which is the only Fast and Furious I've seen, and I really enjoyed that one, even though I've heard other people don't like it. To me, that's the best one, and I've seen that one. My mom's a big Fast and Furious fan, mm-hmm. So she does not agree with me.
Dang.
I think it's fun. I fall asleep at action movies. I think there's too much going on screen, and then my brain falls asleep. Mm-hmm. But that one I didn't fall asleep in.
I've never seen a Fast and Furious movie.
A single? Wow, that's kind of impressive.
Thank you.
I've seen bits and pieces of all of them. I think except for the newest, the Hobbs and Shaw or whatever. But I've only sat through and watched Tokyo Thrift. I've seen that 2 or 3 times, so that's why it's the best.
I have a lot of movie hot takes, but this is not the time nor the place.
Another one.
Yeah.
And you do.
I do.
That I can confirm. But yeah, marketing commission. Commission is really fun. It's really, it's a rewarding part, but it's also expensive. And I think that's what a lot of people in the group are like. I write to be able to afford commissions.
Yes.
And then I write to make more commissions.
Yes.
It is really fun. And I love the, what's the word? the partnership between like artists and writers. I was gonna say, maybe in our next episode, by that point we'll have both commission new pieces, or like yours will be coming in, and I will be putting mine out. They're due on the 15th. So then maybe we can talk about that next episode. So for now, I'm E.
And I'm A.
Bye.